The huge meeting room buzzed with angry voices as 12 different alien species gathered for the most important meeting in galaxy history. Ambassador Zeth Kara stood tall at the center podium. His crystal skin caught the bright lights as he looked around at all the worried faces. "Listen to me, all of you," Zeth Kara said in his cold voice that the machines translated for everyone. "We cannot wait any longer about the human problem. 3 months ago we gave Earth a simple choice. Join us under our rules or stay alone forever. They answered us like the proud fools they are." On Earth, President Jack Morrison sat in his office, chair looking tired and worried. Around him stood his best people. General Lisa Harper put a tablet computer on his desk. The screen showed pictures of huge alien ships floating just outside their solar system. "Mr. President, they are not playing games this time," Harper said with a serious face. "Our spies tell us they brought the biggest fleet ever seen. 17 different alien types, more than 10,000 ships." Morrison picked up the tablet and read the final message from the aliens. The words were simple but scary. Earth had to give up completely. 90% of all humans would be moved to other planets far away. Everyone left would have alien machines put in their heads to control their thoughts. "Send back our answer, General," Morrison said quietly. "Just one word, no." Dr. Elena Rodriguez had spent years learning how to talk to aliens. She looked up from her work with worry in her eyes. "Sir, they do not understand us at all. In their minds, fighting back is not just stupid. They cannot even think about it. No species has ever said no to them and lived." Far away in space, Zeth Kara got Earth's message. The translation was easy to read, but what it meant made all the alien commanders look at each other in shock. Admiral Kythmore had won battles against dozens of planets. He started laughing like he heard a funny joke. Did they really think one word would save them? Kythmore asked his officers. "Get the war fleet ready. This will be over in a few days." But deep under a mountain in Colorado, Colonel Ryan Matthews was getting ready for something the aliens had never seen before. Unlike every other species, the aliens had taken over. Humans had spent their whole history getting ready for war. Not just war against other humans, but war against anything that might want to hurt them. "Operation Prometheus is ready to go," Matthews told Morrison over the phone. "All our weapons are in place." The aliens did not know that humans had been watching them for a long time. Secret bases on the dark side of the moon had been tracking alien ships for 50 years. Hidden listening posts scattered through the solar system had recorded every alien message. Earth knew exactly how strong the alien fleet was, what weapons they carried, and how they liked to fight. Captain Amy Turner stood on the bridge of her warship USS Defiance. The ship looked like other Earth Navy ships, but inside it was completely different. Human engineers had spent 20 years building technology that the aliens would never expect. "All weapons ready," Turner told her crew. "Target locked on the alien probe." The first alien scout ship entered Earth's airspace over the Pacific Ocean. Its silver body cut through the sky like a knife. The ship was designed to send out special waves that would break all human machines and make people too calm to fight. This trick had worked perfectly on 47 other planets. "Here it comes," Turner's weapons officer said. "Shall we show them what no means in human language?" The alien ship fired its special weapon at the USS Defiance. For just a moment, the lights on the ship got dimmer. Then backup systems kicked in. These systems had been built to work even if everything else broke down. Humans had learned to expect the worst and plan for it. "Their weapon did not work, Captain," the officer reported. "Permission to fire back?" Turner nodded. The ship's railgun fired a piece of metal at incredible speed. The metal rod hit the alien ship so hard that it turned into a bright flash of light. Pieces of the alien ship scattered across 50 miles of ocean. On the alien command ship, alarm. Sounds filled the air as computers showed what had happened. Kythmore stared at the screens and could not believe what he saw. The humans had not only stopped their best weapon, they had destroyed a ship that was supposed to be stronger than anything a primitive planet could build. "This is impossible," Zeth Kara said through his teeth. "No backward species should have such weapons." General Harper stood in the Pentagon war room, watching as the same thing happened all over the world. The aliens had expected easy victory. Instead, they found a species that had turned everything into a weapon. Humans had learned to fight using the laws of physics themselves. "Sir, the alien fleet is starting to move," reported Colonel Sarah Lee from the space watching station. "They will reach fighting distance in 6 hours." Harper nodded with a grim face. The first part of their plan was done. Now came the real test. Dr. Marcus Webb turned on a special machine hidden under the ice in Antarctica. The message he sent was not aimed at the alien fleet near Earth. Instead, it went to every corner of the galaxy, using ways of talking that the aliens had never dreamed were possible. "This is Earth." Webb's voice traveled through space itself. "You wanted an answer. Here it is." What happened next was a show of human engineering that broke every rule the galaxy thought they knew about primitive worlds. Nuclear engines lit up, sending dozens of spacecraft toward the alien fleet. But these were not ships like anyone had ever seen. They were massive chunks of rock and metal, pushed to incredible speeds. The alien fleet finally saw the incoming rocks when they were just minutes away. At those speeds, there was no time to move out of the way, no shield strong enough to stop them. "Get us out of here," Kithmore screamed. But the laws of physics do not listen to panic. The first rock hit the biggest alien ship right in the center, turning both the rock and the ship into a tiny star that burned bright for just a moment. As more impacts lit up the darkness of space, Zethkara realized something that filled him with fear. The humans had not been getting ready to surrender. They had been getting ready for war. And this was just the beginning. The alien invasion fleet that had been the most powerful force in galaxy history was now nothing but floating pieces of metal and radiation. Of the 10,000 ships that came to destroy Earth, less than 2,000 were still alive, running away as fast as they could while more human rocks flew past them into deep space. In the emergency meeting that happened right after, panic replaced the proud anger from before. Alien leaders who had conquered dozens of worlds now whispered to each other in scared voices. "How did this happen?" demanded Counselor Vrextal, his snake-like body coiled tight with fear. "Our spies told us they could barely fly in space. We thought they were cave people with metal tools." Zethkara's crystal skin had lost its bright shine, made dull by shock and terror. "They never showed us what they could really do. Every spy we sent, every time we watched them, they gave us exactly what they wanted us to see." The truth was worse than they knew. Admiral Pete Jackson had been watching alien races from hidden bases for almost 100 years. From secret spots, all through the solar system, humans had been studying, learning, and making plans. "Phase 2 starts now," Jackson told his commanders. "All long-distance weapons are ready to go." The weapons were humanity's greatest creation, robot factories that could build copies of themselves launched many years ago, and powered by the huge energy of stars between solar systems. While the galaxy thought Earth was alone and primitive, these factories had been building, spreading, and getting ready for war. On the old home world of the Hektari species, now ruled by the Alien Council for over 300 years, computer sensors found something impossible. Space watching systems showed massive structures appearing at the edge of their solar system, structures that had not been there moments before. Counselor Thesmar, speaking for the Hektari people, got the message. With growing fear, the structures were clearly made by someone, clearly meant for war and clearly beyond anything in the galaxy's computer files. "Unknown ships, tell us who you are," came the standard challenge from Hektari Defense Forces. The answer came back, in perfect Hektari language impossible for a species the galaxy had never talked to before. "This is Commander Jake Sullivan of the Earth Colonial Authority. Your government has declared war on humanity. Give up now, or learn why that was a mistake." The Hektari fleet, with almost 1,000 ships, moved to fight. They faced what looked like 50 human ships, and the numbers seemed good for them. The battle lasted exactly 4 minutes. Human ships did not follow the galaxy's rules for war. They did not get close to normal weapon distance or fight in the fancy way that space war had been done for thousands of years. Instead, they showed the difference between a species that fought for fun and one that fought to live. The Hektari command ship simply stopped existing. along with everything in a 50-kilometer circle around it, eaten by a weapon that turned matter directly into energy. Other human ships launched swarms of smart missiles that changed their attack plan with each defense they met, learning and fighting back in real time. Dr. Rodriguez, watching the battle from Earth, shook her head sadly. They still do not understand. They are fighting like this is a game with rules. We learned long ago that in real war there are no rules. As news of the Hectari defeat spread through galaxy communication networks, something that had never happened before began. For the first time in the Council's history, member species began asking for protection not from outside enemies, but from the very group they had joined for safety. President Morrison spoke to the world that evening. His words were carried across space by quantum transmitters to every corner of the galaxy. We offered you peace. We offered you trade, working together, and respect for each other. You answered with threats and demands. Now you are learning what happens when you threaten a species that turned the art of war into a science, and the science of war into an art form. But the aliens still did not understand what they were really facing. On the Council command ship, the remaining leaders tried to make sense of what had happened. Their best scientists studied the battle recordings over and over. Their weapons break the laws of physics, reported Chief Scientist Morthek. Matter to energy conversion at that scale should be impossible. Their missiles show learning patterns that suggest artificial intelligence beyond our understanding. What the aliens did not know was that humans had been preparing for this war for generations. Every science fiction story, every war game, every disaster movie had been a training exercise. Humans had imagined every possible way a war could be, fought and prepared for all of them. Dr. Helen Carter, working from her lab on the moon, watched as her predictions came true. She had spent 40 years studying alien psychology through their communication patterns. She knew they would underestimate humanity because they had never met a species like humans before. They evolved on safe worlds where cooperation meant survival, she explained to her team. We evolved on a world where everything wanted to kill us. They think war is about showing strength. We know war is about making the enemy stop existing. The difference showed in every aspect of the fighting. Alien ships were built to look impressive and fight according to traditions. Human ships were built to win. Alien weapons were designed for clean, honorable victories. Human weapons were designed to completely destroy anything they touched. Captain Danny Rodriguez, commanding the HMS Newton, received his next target assignment. The Corvin Defense Force, some of the galaxy's most advanced warships, was protecting their home system. Jump complete, Rodriguez reported. Beginning attack run. The Corvin ships had been built by a species with 10,000 years of space combat experience. They had shields that could stop nuclear weapons, armor that could survive asteroid impacts, and weapons that could crack planets. It did not matter. The human ships appeared from nowhere, struck with weapons that turned physics into a weapon, and disappeared before the aliens could even target them. The entire Corvin Defense Force was destroyed in less than an hour. Back on Earth, Colonel Matthews watched red markers spread across the galaxy map. Each marker represented another alien stronghold that had fallen to human forces. 17 systems taken, Mr. President, Matthews reported to Morrison. Estimated enemy fleet strength, reduced by 60%. They are pulling back to their core worlds. But Morrison knew this was just the beginning. The aliens had started this war thinking they were facing primitives. Now they were learning they had picked a fight with the one species in the galaxy that had made war into both an art and a science. The lesson was just getting started. Within 3 days of the Hectari system falling, the Galaxy Information Network filled with impossible reports. Human forces had appeared at the same time in 16 different solar systems, each one a major alien stronghold. The attacks followed no pattern the galaxy could understand. They seemed to strike everywhere at once, as if humans had learned to control space and time itself. Admiral Kithmore found himself trying to defend his home system as human ships appeared from nothing. His tactical officers studied the sensor, readings with growing confusion and fear. Sir, the human ships are not using any kind of faster than light travel we know, reported his chief analyst. They seem to be folding space itself around them. The truth was both simpler and more scary than they realized. Dr. Elizabeth Grant had spent 30 years developing humanity's answer to galaxy travel. While other species used dimensional gates or hyperspace tunnels, humans had learned to bend, the quantum foam that made up the fabric of reality. "Jump complete," reported Captain Danny Rodriguez aboard the HMS Newton. "Target system secured. Local defense fleet destroyed." The destruction had taken less than an hour. The Corvin Defense Force, made up of some of the galaxy's most advanced warships, had simply found themselves outmaneuvered by ships that could appear anywhere at any time, striking with weapons that broke every known law of physics. Back on Earth, Colonel Matthews managed the growing war from deep inside Cheyenne Mountain. The wall showed a three-dimensional map of the galaxy, with red markers showing systems under human control and yellow markers showing alien territories running away. "Status report," President Morrison asked as he entered the command center. 17. "System secured, Mr. President," Matthews replied. "Estimated enemy fleet strength reduced by 60%. They are giving up their forward positions and gathering around their core worlds." But Morrison's face remained serious. He understood something that the celebrating military commanders did not. This was just the beginning of what humans planned to do. On the alien capital world of Centauri Prime, emergency meetings ran day and night. Species that had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years now spoke in quiet, scared voices about ideas they had never needed to think about before. Total war, complete destruction, survival at any cost. "We must try to make peace," said Counselor Vrextal. "Surely they will accept if we surrender." Zethkara's answer made everyone in the room feel cold. "I do not think they want our surrender. I think they want us to understand what we really are." The understanding came in the form of a message that reached every populated world in the galaxy at the same time. This was impossible and showed technology far beyond anything the aliens had ever imagined. The face that appeared on screens across thousands of worlds belonged to an old human woman. Her gray hair was pulled back and her eyes seemed to hold knowledge that went back centuries. "My name is Dr. Helen Carter," she began, her voice calm and measured. "I speak for humanity not as a conqueror, but as a teacher. You have spent so long as the top hunters of this galaxy that you have forgotten a basic truth. There is always something higher on the food chain." The message continued for exactly 10 minutes, but what it said would change galaxy civilization forever. Dr. Carter explained with scientific facts and historical proof exactly what humanity was and why the alien approach had been doomed from the start. "You evolved on worlds where working together meant survival," she said. "We evolved on a world where everything, including our own planet, was trying to kill us. You developed intelligence to build things. We developed intelligence to destroy things. You see war as a last choice. We see peace as a short break between fights." The message continued with examples that made the aliens understand their mistake. Humans had not just survived on Earth, they had turned survival into an art form. Every disaster, every predator, every challenge had made humans stronger and more dangerous. "When your species faces a problem, you try to avoid it or work around it," Dr. Carter explained. "When humans face a problem, we turn it into a weapon. Your volcanoes are avoided. Ours power our cities. Your storms are hidden from. Ours generate our electricity. Your dangerous animals are feared. Ours became our partners and pets." The aliens began to understand that they had not just attacked another species. They had attacked a species that had weaponized everything, including the concept of survival itself. Captain Amy Turner, now commanding a battle group of 50 human ships, received her orders to attack the Serpentine home system. The Serpentines had ruled over 200 worlds for 5,000 years. Their military was considered the finest in the galaxy. "All ships, prepare for quantum jump," Turner commanded. "Target, Serpentine Prime. Mission, complete system pacification." The human fleet disappeared from normal space and reappeared around the Serpentine homeworld. What they found there was a defense network that had never been defeated. Orbital, fortresses, planetary shields, and a fleet of 3,000 warships. The battle lasted 6 minutes. Human ships did not attack the fortresses directly. Instead, they attacked the space around them, using weapons that turned the vacuum of space into a crushing force. The orbital defenses simply collapsed inward on themselves. The planetary shields designed to stop any known weapon found themselves facing attacks that came from inside the shield itself. Human quantum weapons opened tiny doorways in space, allowing their destructive force to appear anywhere they wanted. Serpentine Prime Defense Network neutralized, Turner reported, beginning liberation of subject worlds. The word liberation was important. Humans had discovered that most of the species under alien rule had been forced to join. Many had been fighting secret resistance wars for centuries, waiting for someone strong enough to help them. Dr. Rodriguez, now working as humanity's chief contact specialist, received messages from dozens of species that had been hiding their true feelings about alien rule. The Kalani want to join us, she reported to Morrison. So do the Therians, the Zephyrite, and the Coastal Federation. They have been pretending to be loyal while secretly building weapons. This was the galaxy's biggest shock. The aliens had thought they ruled over willing subjects. Instead, they had been sitting on top of a rebellion that had been waiting centuries for the right moment. Admiral Jackson smiled as he read the intelligence reports. They never learned the first rule of conquest, he told his staff. If you have to force someone to obey, they are not really your subject. They are your enemy pretending to be your subject. As the message from Dr. Carter finished playing across the galaxy, a new reality settled over every world. The humans were not just another species to be absorbed or destroyed. They were something that had never existed before in the galaxy. A civilization that had turned the concept of survival into both a science and an art, and they were just getting started with teaching the galaxy what that meant. 6 months after the first human attack, the galaxy had changed completely. The alien council that once controlled 1,200 systems now held fewer than 300. The rest had either joined human protection or simply declared themselves free, knowing that the old rulers were finished. Ambassador Kate Phillips stood in what used to be the council's grand meeting hall on Centauri Prime. The fancy room, built to show the power of galactic civilization, now held a very different kind of gathering. Representatives from dozens of species sat in nervous silence as she spoke to them. The Human Colonial Authority recognizes the right of all species to rule themselves, Phillips said clearly. What we will not allow is the kind of empire building that brought us to this point. Zeth Kara, no longer speaking for a galactic empire, but only representing his own failing species, stood up to address the meeting. His crystal skin had become much duller over the past months, showing how much his people had lost. Ambassador Phillips, surely we can reach some agreement. The Vortanian Empire has existed for 10,000 years. And in those 10,000 years, how many species did you wipe out? Phillips interrupted. Our digging teams have found the remains of 47 civilizations in systems you claimed were empty. Your empire was built on murder. The accusation hung in the air like a heavy weight. Other species representatives moved uncomfortably in their seats, recognizing similar patterns in their own expansion histories. President Morrison, now governing not just Earth but a growing group of freed worlds, spoke from the capital of New, Geneva. This was humanity's first colony between the stars, built in the ruins of a former alien military base. We are not interested in ruling the galaxy, Morrison announced to the human colonies, but we will not allow any species to repeat the Council's mistakes. Every world has the right to choose for itself. Every species has the right to exist. Making sure these principles were followed had required a show of force that would be remembered forever. Admiral Harper, now commanding humanity's rapidly growing fleet, had systematically destroyed every military base the aliens had built over centuries of expansion. The final battle, if it could be called that, had happened in the Nexus system. This was the Alien Council's main military stronghold. 3,000 of their most advanced warships had faced fewer than 200 human ships. The fight lasted 8 minutes. Dr. Carter, now serving as humanity's chief science advisor, studied the data from her laboratory on the moon. The quantum weapons, the learning computer systems, the reality-bending drives. All of it had grown, from one simple human trait that the galaxy had never seen before. They thought intelligence meant building bigger and better versions of what already existed, she explained to her research team. We learned that intelligence means making the impossible happen. The change went beyond military conquest. Engineers were already beginning the process of helping younger species grow, sharing technologies that would speed up their development by centuries. Species that had been crushed under alien rule found themselves with opportunities they had never imagined. Commander Tony Barrett, overseeing the freeing of the Kalani homeworld, watched as human medical teams worked alongside local healers to eliminate diseases that had hurt their species for generations. It was a scene being repeated on dozens of worlds. "Status report?" Barrett asked his aide. "All former Council military equipment secured, sir. Local government has asked for permanent human advisors. They want to learn our education systems." Barrett nodded. The Kalani had been particularly hurt under alien rule, their natural artistic talents crushed in favor of industrial production. Now they were asking to learn how humans balanced creativity with technological advancement. But the most important change was happening on Earth itself. Dr. Webb's quantum communication network had revealed something amazing. Humanity was not alone in its corner of the galaxy. The signals they had been receiving for decades, dismissed as cosmic background noise, were actually messages from other species. Dozens of them had been hiding from the aliens for centuries. "First contact protocols are established," reported Colonel Lee from the Deep Space Communications Center. "We have verified peaceful contact with 43 different species, all of whom avoided Council detection by keeping their technology simple on purpose." The irony was not lost on President Morrison. While the Council believed they were controlling all important galactic civilizations, they had actually created a shadow galaxy of species too smart to reveal themselves. Captain Lisa Wong, commanding the joint human-alien ship TAS Harmony, patrolled the space lanes with her Kalani navigator Sithara. They were part of something the galaxy had never seen before. A truly international peacekeeping force with human technology providing the backbone, but crews drawn from dozens of species. "Unknown ship, this is the TAS Harmony," Wong broadcast to a vessel that had entered restricted space. "You are approaching a protected system. State your business." The response came from a former alien military commander who was now working as a trader. "This is Captain Morthavel. I am delivering medical supplies to the Therian colonies." Wong checked her computers. The medical supplies were real, and the Therians had requested them. This was the new galaxy. Former enemies working together, former slaves becoming partners, former conquerors learning to trade instead of take. Admiral Jackson reviewed the weekly reports from across human space. The numbers told an incredible story. Crime was down in every system under human protection. Trade was up by 300%. Most importantly, no species had asked to leave human protection to return to the old system. "Sir, we have received another request," his aide reported. "The Crystalline Collective wants to join our alliance. That makes 57 species total." Jackson smiled. The Crystalline Collective had been one of the Council's oldest members. Their decision to switch sides showed that the galaxy's confidence in the old order was completely broken. But perhaps the most important change was in how species treated each other. The Council's system had been based on fear and force. Human protection was based on respect and mutual benefit. Species that had been enemies for thousands of years were learning to work together. Former Admiral Kithmore, now working as a transport pilot in the outer systems, reflected on the changes as he delivered supplies to a human research station. His pride had been shattered, his empire dissolved, but somehow the galaxy felt more alive than it had in centuries. The humans had done something that had never happened before. They had conquered not to rule, but to free. They had shown that the strongest weapon in the universe was not superior firepower, but superior principles. And across the galaxy, as species long crushed began to flourish and new civilizations emerged, from hiding, a single truth became clear. The age of empires was over. The age of cooperation had begun. 1 year after the war began, the galaxy was completely different. The old alien council was gone. In its place stood something that had never existed before, a true alliance of equals, where no species ruled over another and every world had a voice in its own future. Ambassador Kate Phillips walked through the halls of the new Galactic Assembly on the neutral world of Haven. The building was not as fancy as the old council chambers, but it was bigger, much bigger. Representatives from over 400 species worked together here, many appearing on the galactic stage for the first time in thousands of years. The Terran Accords are now in full effect, Phillips announced to the packed assembly hall. No species may claim power over another. No world may be colonized without permission. No civilization may be destroyed for the convenience of expansion. The Accords were enforced by the Galaxy Protection Fleet. Ships like the TAS Unity, commanded by Captain Ryan Adams alongside his Kalani co-captain Velterra, patrolled the space lanes, making sure the new rules were followed. These were not human ships with alien crew members. They were truly joint vessels, built using the best technology from multiple species working together. Former Admiral Kithmore watched one of these patrol ships pass by his cargo hauler. A year ago, he would have commanded it to stop and identify itself. Now he was grateful it was there. Pirates and raiders had become a serious problem when the old empire collapsed, but the human-led coalition dealt with them quickly and efficiently. "Cargo ship Peaceful Trader, this is GPS Unity," came a friendly voice over the radio. "We show you are carrying medical supplies to the outer rim. Do you need an escort through the asteroid field?" Kithmore smiled. The humans could have demanded tribute or forced him to follow their rules. Instead, they offered help. "Thank you, Unity. An escort would be appreciated." This was the new galaxy. Protection instead of oppression. Cooperation instead of conquest. Dr. Helen Carter stood in her new laboratory on Luna Station, watching the latest reports from across human space. The transformation had been faster than anyone expected. Species that had been enemies for millennia were now working together on projects that benefited everyone. "The Therian-Kalani Joint Research Project has succeeded," her assistant reported. "They have developed a cure for the wasting plague. Over 50 species have requested access to the treatment." Carter nodded with satisfaction. The wasting plague had killed billions across the galaxy for centuries. Under the old system, any cure would have been controlled by the Council and sold at high prices. Under the new system, it would be shared freely with anyone who needed it. President Morrison addressed the Earth Parliament from New Geneva, humanity's first interstellar capital. Behind him stood representatives from dozens of worlds, all equal partners in the growing alliance. "The Human Colonial Authority has been dissolved," Morrison announced. "In its place, we established the Galactic Federation. Every member species will have equal representation. Every world will have equal protection." The announcement was broadcast across the galaxy through Dr. Webb's quantum communication network. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Over 100 species applied for membership in the first day, but the real success was not in the numbers. It was in the stories coming from individual worlds. Commander Sarah Mitchell visited the former slave world of Kepler 442b. For 3 centuries, the Kalani people had been forced to mine rare crystals for their alien masters. Now, they were free to pursue their natural talents as artists and musicians. The first Kalani symphony had just been performed for audiences across the galaxy. "How do you feel about the changes?" Mitchell asked the local leader. Elder Sithrama smiled, his scaled face showing emotions that had been forbidden under the old regime. "For the first time in 300 years, our children ask what they want to become instead of what they are ordered to do." Similar stories came from every liberated world. The Crystalline Collective was sharing their advanced mathematics with younger species. The Aquatic Federation was teaching water purification techniques to desert worlds. The Silicon Brotherhood was helping rocky planets develop sustainable mining operations. Dr. Rodriguez, now serving as Earth's chief diplomatic officer, received a message that surprised everyone. It came from the Vortanian homeworld, where Zeth Kara still lived in the ruins of his former empire. "Ambassador Rodriguez," the message began, "I write to request something I never thought I would ask for. Help. The Vortanian Empire had collapsed completely after losing the war. Their military was gone, their economy destroyed, their colonies all free. Many Vortanians were starving because they had never learned to work instead of rule. We offer our knowledge of galactic history in exchange for food and medical aid. Zethkara continued. We also offer something more valuable. A complete confession of our crimes against the 47 species we destroyed. Rodriguez brought the message to Morrison and the cabinet. The debate was short. We help them, Morrison decided. Not because they deserve it, but because it is right. We are not them. The aid mission to the Vortanian homeworld became a symbol of the new galaxy. Human ships carried food and medicine. Kalani artists brought music and hope. Therian engineers built new infrastructure, former enemies working together to help their former oppressors. Captain Danny Rodriguez, now commanding the exploration vessel TS Discovery, led the first joint expedition beyond the galactic rim. His crew included scientists from 23 different species, all working together to explore the unknown. Jump coordinates set, reported his crystalline navigator, beginning transit to the Magellanic Clouds. All stations report ready, added his aquatic chief engineer. Quantum drive, spinning up. Take us out, Helm, Rodriguez ordered his Therian pilot. As the ship disappeared into hyperspace, it carried with it the hopes of the entire galaxy, not for conquest or empire, but for discovery and understanding. Back on Earth, children learned about the galaxy in schools where human and alien teachers worked side by side. They learned not about human superiority, but about the importance of working together. They learned that strength came not from dominating others, but from protecting those who could not protect themselves. Admiral Jackson, now retired, sat in his garden in Colorado and watched ships from dozens of species pass overhead. Some were cargo vessels carrying trade goods. Others were passenger ships bringing tourists to see the birthplace of galactic freedom. All flew the new flag of the Galactic Federation alongside their own species' colors. His granddaughter asked him about the war as they watched the ships go by. "Grandpa, why did the aliens attack us?" Jackson thought for a moment before answering. Because they forgot something important. They thought being strong meant making others weak. We showed them that being strong means making others strong too. The galaxy would never again mistake human diplomacy for weakness. They had learned at terrible cost that when humans say no, they mean it with every weapon, every innovation, and every drop of determination that had carried them from caves to stars. But more importantly, they had learned that humans fought not to rule but to free, not to conquer but to protect, not to dominate but to serve. The lesson was complete. The teacher would always be watching,